Hey everybody, it's Ken, and I am very, very grateful to have my good friend Blair Singer here.
Awesome to be here, Matt.
Let's talk about what are some of the basic things that people miss in sales.
Okay, a couple things. First of all, sales equals income. We've established that. If you can't sell, there's no income. And anybody that's ever complained about lack of anything, and particularly lifestyle or money, it's because they can't sell.
Yep.
Pure and simple. They think the product will sell itself. They think somebody else will sell it for them. All that garbage, which is basically garbage.
Once again, I know how I love Robert because he goes, well, if you don't have, if you can't go on a date, you can't sell. He just basically cuts it like, if you can't get a date, you can't sell. Right?
That's right. It's true. It's true. So that's one thing people miss. So they abdicate it. Second thing is we have an expression that telling is not selling. When you just pontificating about what you're offering and talk, that doesn't sell anything. It bores people. They check out. They're not interested.
And that's what everybody thinks selling is.
Right.
Actually, right?
Yeah, it's about value. Yeah, it is, but it's not even so much what you're saying. It's the way you communicate it. There are some people that have horrible product knowledge. They're probably not that articulate, but they sell well because they know how to engage a prospect or engage an audience.
That's a good point.
Online or offline.
Yeah.
And that's what mostly it takes. I assume when I coach people or train people that your product is good, okay? Otherwise, don't come to me because your product is schlocky. That nothing's going to help you.
But I always watch, it's funny because most businesses are not like brand new, like revolutionary. They're just small variations of something that is already out there. You know what I mean? So I always find it fascinating where, there's brands that make it to a certain point, companies, and then somebody just says, I could market this better and I can do this better. But really they're doing the exact same thing. And I think one of the most obvious ones is insurance, or banking. Like they're all the same. Right? But it's fascinating how different a strategy each one has, and that's kind of what you're saying. Is some hit you here in the heart.
Yep.
Some try to get you in the head, and the ones that hit you in the heart are the ones that win.
Yeah, and so think about your bank. Okay, so if all banks do the same thing, which one are you going to go with? And it's going to be something about their service.
Yep.
I learned this early is that it's not what you do, it's the way you do it that makes the big difference. And
right.
and as this world gets crazier and crazier and crazier, that's even more important right now.
And I know one of the things we studied with Rich Dad over the years was this, what we call the BI triangle. And there's a triangle, and the product is the smallest piece, and that's what everyone focuses on.
Right.
Is, everybody thinks that their product is like, is the thing that should require all the focus, but it's communication, it's cash flow, it's legal, it's systems, it's the marketing and the branding and all that. The product is almost irrelevant.
Right.
I mean, it's not irrelevant, obviously, but it can be.
It can be, and the art form is in the pieces you're talking about. What's your internal communication like? How functional is your team? How well do they work together?
Yeah.
How well do you market out to the public? All that's marketing. And by the way, sales is not just about selling a product. It's also about recruiting. I mean, if you want to bring somebody on your team, you want to build a great team, why would they want to work for you?
Yeah.
Why would they want to all these people are resigning over the last couple of years. Why? Yeah. Because businesses don't know what their employees want, and so they're not providing that for them.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, guys, when that hit me the hardest was when I first early on started speaking with you guys and going around on the road. I remember Robert's like, well, he goes, let's create a product. This is right before we went up on stage. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, we're going to create a product, the keys to cash flow. I'm like, well, I don't have a product like that. He's like, doesn't matter. I'm like, okay. So we get up on stage. He's like, how many people would like, this CD said, I think at the time it was CDs, from Ken, and a little workbook on the keys to cash flow. And like hundreds of people raised their hand, and he sold a bunch, and we didn't have a product. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, it was really a mind blower for me, because I realized that what he was doing was solving a problem that people had, and he knew that I could do the product. But I think a lot of times people create a product and then they try to sell it without even knowing if it's what people want.
Yeah, and you notice that in that scenario, the first thing he did is ask them.
Yeah.
He said, how many of you would like this that does this? How many like it? If nobody raised their hand, there would have been no product.
Correct.
Okay, but because they responded, then you created one.
It blew my mind because it's the exact opposite of what you learn in school. You know, I was a marketing major and in the business school and finance too, but they don't teach you that. They teach you, you know, this is how you market this. That's all completely nonsense now because of social media and all the stuff that's happened at the moment. But it is very, very interesting. And so that was the other question I want to ask you is, how do you stay relevant today with the way things are moving online?
Well, it's a challenge, okay? But I try to, one of the things Dr. Buckminster Fuller taught us is about principles. You know, principles like gravity is a principle. It's true all the time. You know, there's no exception. So I just find in business, if I'm particularly in teaching and coaching, is I can just stay with the principle and apply the principle to whatever's going on right now. Like when I say, telling is not selling, that doesn't matter what's going on in social media. It's even more exacerbated then.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? So it's about staying with the principles involved. What is sales? Find out what people want. Find out, asking questions, right? Find out what people want and help them get it. Simple. That doesn't change. And I always say the biggest thing about sales, by the way, is not selling to your customer, not just recruiting. The toughest sell of all is you selling you to yourself.
Oh, wow.
You know,
Tell me more about that. What do you mean?
Well, you know, as an entrepreneur, you know, we face obstacles, we make mistakes, we fall down. And the question is, can you get back up and keep going, right? I remember my first sales position back with Unisys, way back when in Honolulu, there was a sign on the wall that says, salesmanship begins when the customer says no. And I go, okay, I got this. I had never sold anything before. I'm going to go out and handle objections. And I got flashed. I mean, I had people just barbecuing me, slicing me up. I couldn't even give a presentation. I go, wow, this is tough. Next day, I saw the sign again. Salesmanship begins when the customer says no. Okay, so I'm going to go more energy tomorrow. So then the second day I go out on the job, I go out there with more energy to sell. Well, the problem with that is my energy was higher, their energy was higher, and they're screaming at me, get out of here, you Holly boy, you don't belong here, go back to the mainland, we don't want you. I mean, it was brutal. I was going to quit. That's it. My experience in sales was 2 days, I'm quitting. I was going back into my manager, this is not for me, I can't do this. And I saw that sign one more time, and it froze me. And I looked at the sign, and it's salesmanship begins when the customer says no. Okay, I get it. It's not about the customer. But when the customer says no, that's when doubt, lack of confidence, and all that stuff starts seeping in. That's when I got to start selling me to get my ass back up, go out there and learn what I need to learn and keep going. And that was a game changer for me. The third day I got there and make, I don't know how many, 50, 60 calls, sold nothing. But I accomplished the most important sale, which was me selling me to me.
Yeah.
And so what I find is that's a principle true in all cases, is that at the end of the day, no matter what's going on, and there's a lot going on, grant you, but you got to be able to sell yourself to keep going. Sell yourself on yourself. Sell yourself on your ability to take another step forward.